And now we're going to start our first AI forum. Today we're joined by our moderator and 5 panelists, all elites from industry. Now let me invite our first speaker, who is our moderator of this session, Dr. Chen Fu, the Distinguished Professor of Department of Computer Science and Information Engineering, NTU. Doctor, please. 掌声欢迎 Dr. Fu. All right, Doctor, would you like to first say a few words to our guest?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good afternoon. It's my great honor and pleasure to stand on this stage to serve as the moderator for this panels. As you know, artificial intelligence has a tremendous potential to benefit our mankind, and has already demonstrated enormous value in enhancing our security and growing our economy. AI is quickly transforming our life and our business, improving how we diagnose and treat the illness, grow our food, manufacture and deliver new products, manage our finance, power our homes, and travel from one place to the others. In other words, AI has a comprehensive and overwhelming impact to our world. To sum up, AI serves as the nurture for us to grow our mind and lead to creations. So this brings out the theme of today's panels. AI is the driver for innovations. We are very glad and honored to invite 5 very prestigious figures to be our panelists. Let me quickly mention.
May I?
Okay.
And Dr. Fu, please take your seat. Thank you very much. And now let me invite our panelists to join us. Mr. Hanlin Tang, Principal Engineer of Artificial Intelligence Product Group, Intel Corporation. Mr. Tang, please join us. Mr. Mars Xu, Business Executive of IBM Cloud, IBM Taiwan. Mr. Michael Chang, Director of Artificial Intelligence Research and Development Center, Microsoft. Mr. Simon Si, Senior Director of Solution Architecture and Engineering, NVIDIA. Last but not least, Mr. Chih Yu, CEO and co-founder of Appier. Doctor, please.
Over these 5 panelists, we invite each of them to give 5 to 10 minutes, roughly 10 minutes about what they are going to say for this themes, AI driver for innovations. So we start from the panelists sitting on my left, okay, with this order. Okay, so I will start with the first panelist and give a little background of this panelist. Okay, Dr. Hanlin Tang. He's got a PhD degree from Harvard University. He's principal engineer at the Intel's AI product groups, where he currently directs the computer vision research and applications. Okay, and he also responsible for algorithm hardware core design for next generation accelerator and federal AI projects. So please join me to welcome Dr. Tang. Thank you.
Thank you for that kind introduction. I wanted to take this opportunity to share 2 thoughts on how we can work together to drive forward innovation in AI. I am often asked to evaluate startups in the AI space, and one of the first questions I ask them is, how much data do you have? Where did you get it from? And how are you going to get more? Because from our perspective, having a strong data acquisition strategy is central for pushing forward success in AI. You see, I talk to a lot of startups who have trained some sort of neural network algorithm, and then they deploy it to enhance a product in their particular services, whether that's a recommendation system that may run at the data center, or video and edge analytics for image recognition or speech recognition. But I think what really takes these startups and takes the AI industry to the next level is be able to build out a data acquisition strategy. And part of that is engineering end-to-end solutions from the data center to the edge. I'll give you an example of some of the work that we've done, where we've worked in the autonomous driving space, where we've heard quite about previously, on how it's not just the hardware or the algorithm that runs on the edge in that car, but really the ability to pipe that data back to the data center through networking, to be able to retrain those algorithms at the data center, do the simulation and the validation before pushing an improved model back out to the edge. And you can appreciate here that in order to engineer such a system, it requires many different components, not just that single piece of hardware to run an AI algorithm. It requires memory systems, networking, it requires storage solutions, it requires engineering components to do, say, data set management and verification, to scale out the analytics across multiple servers, and to really achieve what the goal for this is to drive AI and innovation in the enterprise space. It is really this type of approach that we've seen give the most traction. The next thing that I'll say here is that a lot of the applications that we've seen AI developed in the enterprise space have been in what we may consider less traditional areas. So we've worked with, say, oil and energy companies to be able to build AI systems to inspect underwater pipelines to detect faults. We've worked in the retail sector, in manufacturing. These, I think, are not traditionally what we would consider technology companies that have taken on the mantle of transforming their companies from an AI perspective. And when we build those type of solutions out, it's really, I think, taking advantage of the broad portfolio of hardware and software products that we have here at Intel to really build these types of end-to-end systems. The other challenge that we see in industry when they try to apply AI is moving from proof of concept to scale-out deployment in enterprise. This is where we see many companies begin to fall off. And I'd like to take this opportunity to offer a couple of tips as to how we can work together to make that transition more seamless for enterprise companies. The first element starts off with the data. Deep learning, one of the core technologies behind AI today, is remarkable because the performance scales with data much more than with classical machine learning methods. But the pitfall that many companies run into is that they may build a POC on a small amount of data, in some cases 1,000 or 10,000 images, and it doesn't reach the desired accuracy level, and they're unable to convince the broader enterprise to be able to adopt that POC into production without realizing the sort of scaling out of performance with the amount of data. And so one very important tip is to have sort of upfront investment from the enterprise-wide to be able to develop the amount of data sets needed to reach accuracy for enterprise-wide deployments. The other remarkable technical aspect of deep learning and neural networks today is that the trained models are completely over-parameterized, meaning that they are much larger than what you actually need to be able to deploy these things. So for example, when you move from training a model to deployment, you often do compression and quantization to be able to compress the model's footprint down so they can run on an edge device at, say, a security camera, for example, or on an embedded car. And what we've done a lot at Intel is create the type of software tools to make that easy for startups and developers. I joined Intel about 1.5 years ago from a startup as well, so I understand the resource challenges there. So products like OpenVINO from one of Intel's groups really makes it easy for startups, enterprise, and developers to be able to take trained models and then deploy them on a number of our Intel hardware, whether that is sub 2 watt Intel Movidius chips to FPGAs to even at the data center level. The other important component of this when you move into production, as I mentioned before, is that all these different components have to come together. It's not just that single hardware and that single software. Another one of our initiatives where we think startups in this community can really benefit to start accelerating the AI and innovation is our AI Builders program, which pairs startups with OEMs, system integrators, and large companies into one complete ecosystem so that they can begin to share their learnings, to share and exchange the different hardware components that are needed. The last bit that I'll say is around opportunities for innovation in the startup space. As I mentioned before, many startups that I see today, they might build a boutique algorithm that then gets applied to enhance their product. But there are many more opportunities in engineering the sort of various components around there. So I was a grad student before. I used to spend about 90% of my time thinking about the algorithm and 10% of the time thinking about the data. Today, when I do my role, I spend 90% of my time thinking about the data and only 10% of the time thinking about the algorithm. And so the community really lacks tools to be able to manage that data set, to be able to visualize it, to be able to understand where all of the edge cases are. And so from our perspective, this is an important area of innovation where startups and enterprise and even academics and the government sector can pitch in to help develop these kind of community-wide tools. We've made some of the first steps in this space earlier last month when we open sourced a couple of AI libraries. So for example, NLP Architect is a recent open source tool that we provided to the community that includes a lot of the necessary algorithms to do things in natural language processing. So intent extraction, sentiment analysis, that hopefully developers can take and use to build some of their core components. A very attractive aspect of the AI space is that open source is one of the key drivers. Libraries such as TensorFlow and MXNet that Intel also contributes to accelerate on our hardware are all open source and available for developers to take advantage of. Following in those footsteps, we've also taken many steps to be able to contribute those type of libraries that make innovation and time to market fast for startups. So things like NLP Architect or Reinforcement Learning Coach is also another one for the research community to quickly develop their robotics devices are the type of efforts that Intel has taken over the last couple of years to really drive AI and innovation. And lastly, I think I'll close in the last minute or so on remarking a little bit on where we see AI moving in the enterprise space and how we can work together to ensure that we build ethical AI systems and appropriately understand how the impact of AI into the broader market will be. One of the initiatives we participate in is called Partnership for AI. It is a cross-industry partnership to understand what are the implications of AI for today's society. And we firmly believe that it is only through cooperating and working with government partners, such as the Ministry of Science and Technology here in Taiwan and also other governments around the world, that we can begin to build some of these AI systems in a effective and powerful way. I think one of the remarkable aspects of being at Intel for the last couple of years is that we have engineered these sort of broad portfolio of systems from hardware to memory and networking that really combine together to build a full AI solution. And I really look forward to talking to many of the folks today and also outside in the expo on how we can work together to bring more AI and more machine learning and deep learning into the enterprise space. So thank you for your time, and thanks for inviting me to speak on this panel.
So next panelist on my left side, I invite Chih, Xu 总经理 from IBM to give us a talk. Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay, maybe I follow, because originally I followed the orders. Okay, maybe I invite Michael Zhang. So let me talk about the Michael's. Michael is currently holding the position of Director General of Microsoft AI and R&D Center in Taipei. Before he's setting up this office, he was Director of Engineering of Software Technology Center in Asia. Okay. Besides this, he also drove the China incubation engineering efforts in Office Product Group. Michael was invited by many world-class companies in the regions to speak and consult their engineering and technology evolution efforts on behalf of Microsoft. So please join me to welcome Michael.
All right, thanks. So I probably will need a clicker.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. All right, thanks. All right. Hello, my name is Michael Chen. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you some of my learning in the last 6 months. So with this new assignment coming back to Taiwan and to lead this AI R&D center effort happen here. So for our center, we have two major portions of work. One is a core engineering tech research focusing on artificial intelligence. And also that also includes the global product engineering developments that happens in Taiwan. For the second part, which is also aligned with today's topic, is about how do we apply artificial intelligence technology so we can help the enterprise and corporation here in Taiwan to improve their manufacturing process, business process, to improve the profit margin and lower the cost. So along the way, I have a privilege to talk to a lot of these industry leaders and learn from their business plan. Honestly, Microsoft has not been doing very well in the past, like learning our customer. We've been doing great building Office and Windows and try to encourage our customer to purchase it. So we focus mainly on the back office business productivities. But along the last couple of years, we also learned that the only way for Microsoft to continue to be sustainable is to learn our customer what it really needs, which is, by the way, is their core business. It is the business that happens in the factory. It's the business that happens in the fields. So I would like to share some of my learning with you today, and also to talk about what really is. In the last couple of months, I've been hearing a lot about the artificial intelligence as a technology. People talk a lot about technology, but not focusing a lot about application. So that, let me remind all of us, right? So the reason why human beings have that creativity and our creation is an art is because human has ingenuity where we are able to create and machines, they cannot. And because of that, so how do we adopt the artificial intelligence, the technology itself, and really find a scenario where we can use? I think that's really the discussion that we need to focus today. For example, the artificial intelligence today that we are talking about, from our understanding, is more like the capability for the children around 4 to 6. They can focus and do something really well if the system is taught to do something. But if that's the area where the system is unknown, the system will perform poorly. And also because of that, that's the reason why we look at all these human beings' progress, right? Is it always a need? With a need, then technology evolves, and with it evolve, then our civilization improves. So if we look at all the human history from the invention of the wheel and also along the way to the industrial revolution and to the internet and also to the mobile device and also later on to the AI we're discussing, the AI today we're discussing today is different from the traditional AI. The traditional AI is more about the research and learning and see if the system itself will be able to mimic the human's emotion. For example, The Xiao Ai's, the conversation platform invented by our colleagues in Beijing, is very close to mimic the human's emotion. So we actually did a couple pranks, calling our customer by using the system, and the customer could not distinguish well for a while. I think for a certain period of time, then the customer realized that they are actually talking to a machine. So I think this is a great start with our traditional artificial intelligence journey. But more importantly, to our today's artificial intelligence is really about, with the invention of the cloud, and later with a mobile device where it generates like tons of data, where these a lot of companies try to understand our customer better. So we try to put the data to the clouds, then applying the big data algorithm, try to learn from all these data and try to understand more. Then with the improvement algorithm, then today this is the algorithm we're talking about. So for all the artificial intelligence, the AI technology, this really evolved from a couple, the cortex, the vision, language, and knowledge. So all these medical application, manufacturing, or even the security, all these productivity improvement, these are projects that are adopting the AI technology, is actually all come from these few cortex. And also because of that, that's the reason why I want to share this quote from my manager's manager, Harry Chang, who is a very distinguished engineer and also a scientist. AI will transform every business, improve every life, and solve some of society's most fundamental problems, all right? Why the reason why we talk about fundamental? Because all these things have been trouble human beings for years, and this is really the time for us to solve that. So technology, the AI, what is AI? AI is a technology that can perceive, that can learn, and also reason with it, and later help people to make a decision and be able to be more efficient, and that be able to help you with the life and your organization. So here's the list of our API. We have a very comprehensive pre-trained algorithm available in the cloud today. I'm sure everyone has been aware of knowing that Microsoft has a recent reorg, and also more recently our acquisition about this, the GitHub. So this shows our direction in terms of our determination and dedication to build a cloud OS. We strongly believe that technology in the future should be reachable by all the customer, and also that if the customer chose to develop their own AI technology, Microsoft also embraced the open source. We want to open up our technology. We want to learn from customer and be able to provide our core tech technology into the customer so they can build their product, they can run their business more efficient. So with that, we talk about the speech recognition, we talk about image, we talk about knowledge. That's really the core tech of the AI. And because of that, so we want to use this opportunity to remind that for all this innovation we want to do in the future, I think there are a lot of enterprise and a lot of organizations doing research or application study. They are focusing a lot about the technology adaptation. We want to encourage everyone to find the right scenario. I think scenario identification is the most important part of it. And most of the vendors, including Microsoft, actually know very little about your pain. So find the right problem, just like our distinguished guests talk about, with the right amount of data, and applying the technology we have today. I'm sure that we can solve a lot of our core business problem and our human being problem, and be able to create a better life for for everyone on the plane. So this will be my sharing. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Next panelist is Simon C. Dr. Shi, Shi 博士. Okay, let me give a little background for Dr. Shi. Dr. Xi. Dr. Xi is currently the Solution Architecture and Engineering Director and Chief Solution Architect for NVIDIA AI Technology Center. He's also a professor and chief scientific computing officer in Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Professor Chih is currently involved in a number of smart city projects, especially in Singapore and China. He is also leading some of the AI initiatives in Asia Pacific. So please, Shi.
Thank you very much.
Please join me to welcome. Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much again for having me here. So I'm going to start off with a introduction that this is one of Inception programs. They actually pick up a funding of about 10.7 million to create a smarter systems to help patients. And basically, it's not to replace a doctor, but enable the doctors to actually function more effectively. It is an online systems that are able to help the doctors advise the patients and to take what kind of consultations and whatsoever. Now, what is Inception program? Basically, Inception program is to help our startups, friends of ours, to actually propel them to a next level. I know that many of the startups has problem with tools, fundings, whatsoever. And one of the things is that NVIDIA is trying to do is to help our partners that develop based on our technologies and so forth. There are various resources. Things will be like getting the GPU, grants, the marketing efforts, and whatsoever. So there are many other things that NVIDIAs are doing. The other things is that, and because of that, one of the things is that recently, in fact, it was just yesterday, that NVIDIA has actually made announcements that NVIDIA is full-heartedly joining Taiwan MOST in the Taiwan AI initiative. We're going to supercharge this by putting in quite a fair bit of things into the whole idea. One of them is that we are going to work together with the NCSC on building up one of the largest AI platform in Asia to actually help researchers and developers to actually supercharge their research activities. Other things will be like our tech centers, research, NVIDIA research is going to work together with some of the universities over here. As you guys all know, many of the startups, many of the new ideas actually comes from the universities. So we are going to put in a lot of effort into working with the startups and also the research community. The other things is that training is an important factor in order to grow the economy. One of the things that we can talk about it more a bit later is what we call the DLI, or Deep Learning Institute. This is basically to provide a whole suite of curriculum for people to actually train in the area of artificial intelligence. And like I say again, the startup itself, Inception program, is a full-blown program that is going to is already happening in Taiwan. We have already have quite a lot of startups over here. In fact, just a week ago in GTC, we have given away prizes for the best Inception partners in Taiwan. Doing that, just let me give you a short introduction what is actually Deep Learning Institute. It basically is to train developers, data scientists, researchers, and how to solve one of the most challenging deep learning problems. And this is basically consists of very fundamental modules. Things will be like the introductions of materials. For those, many of these companies, they have their struggles into adopting this technology. And what we want to do is to demystify it, make it easy for people to learn. They are self-pacing, they are instructor-led workshops, there are technical blogs, third-party courses, and whatsoever. It's all encompassed all into it. It is not just a presentation whatsoever. It is a class, it's the workshop where people actually go on board and do the necessary training. So this is basically to build up in the training itself. We have certifications and other things for instructors. In fact, we are asking the universities to actually help us in building up the instructors. So this is what you get, and this slide is simply to give you, for those who are interested, there are URL over there. You can guys go on board the NVIDIA website and see what are the contents over there. The other thing is that because of the MOS, NVIDIA participating in the MOS initiative, we are setting up the technology centers. And one of the things is that we are setting up technology centers across Asia Pacific. We have already have collaboration with various universities across Asia Pac, Singapore, Taiwan, China, and whatsoever. And basically, it's not just to help the researcher to actually do work within the country, but enable the researcher to actually extend out their work and collaborate with people in other countries too. And this is one of the ways that we go about helping our startups, helping our researchers in the universities, and so forth. This is basically what we are doing in our research projects. Some of the research projects that we are doing in the area of high-performance computing, advanced visualization, of course, in the area of deep learning, and so forth. These are some of the collaborations that we are doing. And basically, like I say again, in the area of smart city, next generation visual assistants, and stuff like this. Again, the slides is just for your brief understanding. So with that, I actually thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks, Simon. Next panelist I would like to invite is, thank you. I would like to invite is Xu Zong, Mars Xu, Xu Zong from IBM. Currently, he's in charge of the cloud business of IBM Taiwan, overlooking IBM cloud strategy and ecosystem development. He also dedicates to assisting enterprise digital transformations by deploying cognitive computing platform. He was awarded of a number of recognitions, including the Best Sales Manager of Greater China Groups in 2015 and 100% Club among his career in IBM. So please join me to welcome Xu Zong. Yeah, Dr. Xu.
Thank you.
Xu. Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mars. It's very honored to be here to share some point of view about this subject. And today's subject is about the AI is the driver of the innovation. The answer is yes, 100%. So the things I would like to share is how we to approve and how we can run in this environment. Let me back some history. In IBM 107 years, actually we are consistent to explore investment, pursue the breakthrough in artificial intelligence. The purpose is to drive the innovation. So we can back to the 1931. In 1931, we have the first translator, which we called Fanny Finney, which was permanently was installed at the League of Nations in Geneva. This is a very early model for this kind of a machine talk translation device, which IBM already started to develop in 1920s. It's very early. And then we had the 1937, we start have automated test scoring. We use this device to help our enterprises how to improve their efficiency of production. And then we had in 1962, this is very key milestone because we had automated speech recognition. How it worked? Tester, they will give the order and spoke a serious number, something like 3 plus 4 minus 1. The answer is. So the system will list down the answer is 6. So why is so important? Because this is the first time our system can recognize the human voice and comments. It has played a significant base for the future artificial intelligence. And then we come to 1997. This is the most famous IBM superpower computer, Deep Blue. It beat the world chess champion. After 6 game match, 2 wins for IBM, 1 for champion, 3 draws. And I think this is the moment of truth, the human being versus the machine in that period. Just the Google 2 years ago, the AlphaGo. And then we had jeopardized the game in the 2011. The Watson, the token of AI. And I think in this event, the Watson demonstrated 2 very significant capabilities. The first one is the ability of the natural language. And the second one, he can make sense of a huge bunch of the writing human knowledge. So at that time, I think just 7 years ago, the machine can understanding, can reason, can learning with a co-worker with a human being. So this kind of momentum, actually, we are more aggressive than ever. We keep doing. So what exactly the definition for IBM? Well, how we think of AI? That's beginning with narrative AI. When we talk about narrative AI, it's just like machine learning, and it's just simply to identify the pattern, the pattern of the things. If we take the image of things, we can know lots of companies that use narrow AI to sort through the picture, no matter the data you store on the cloud or on your cell phone. As an example, just you should identify your picture of family or your pets. Even an industry should identify the defects in your product. But it all a narrative AI, it just use the reinforced learning technology. On the other hand, there's a very powerful AI we call it general AI. General AI. A general AI is very powerful. It seems it can do anything, but it is infamous the black box. We didn't know how it run. We didn't know how it get the data. We didn't know how it analyze the information. But it seems it can build its own data, build model, and he can reason, and he can answer anything. But we all know this kind of power AI system is decade away. It won't happen in the near future, in near years. So we can see between the two models, if we can characterize this, we call the board ID. We are here. The board ID is it's just a multi-model data. It is compressed data, compressed process. No matter the data where it's coming from, which kind of industry, the healthcare or manufacturing, it's just big and compressed data. But I think this is where the value will be, and it will be extra in next few years. This is also the IBM we the focus on area. So actually, three areas we are keep doing. The first one, of course, is artificial intelligence. We how to enhance. So IBM we we are in these years we constructive 25 years we are getting #1 of the American patent award. And the second thing we also continue in cognitive technology on cloud platform. Why? Because we believe if we can give the machine or system, they can see, they can hear, they can sense. Because we have a bunch of data in the world in daily life. If we can give those the capability to the system, no matter we're doing the machine learning or deep learning, we can more easier, more cognitive, more intelligence. So and then we put lots of solution on the cloud because we believe those technology is not for the big enterprise. The IBM solution is designed for some enterprise or developer or startup. So you can easily to use those technology, high technology by the cloud platform. And then let me talk about the history, another history. If we go back 6 years, there's only 2 times when technology allowed the business to improve on exponential curve instead of linear. The first one is something we call the Moore's law. I think everybody knows the Moore's law. The chips all the processing double every 18 months. What it becomes, do you know IBM we have a big machine we call the 360. It's the size of just this kind of root. But so far until now, the power, the size is just your cell phone. This thanks to the Moore's law. Another we call the Metcalfe law. What is the Metcalfe law? The Metcalfe law is the value of the network is equal to the square of node on the network, which it gives rise to all the platform company like Google, like Facebook, like all the social media company. Why? Because he can get a value because of the expanding the network. So we can see the connection between the Moore's law and the Metcalfe law is very similar formula. we are seeing the data is doubling every 12 and 18 months. If we can extract the value from those data, which is hidden in the 80% of dark data, and then we use the AI to, to master the ability and knowledge from those data, it will significantly propel the innovation. So this is the key reason why we are so excited about AI, because we saw the bunch of opportunity in innovation. So this kind of role we call the Watson law. So we all understand the AI is so important, but how kind of platform we should design? We have three suggestions. The first one, when you want to build an AI platform, you got to reimagine workflow. What kind of meaning? The right AI platform is designed with the deep vertical enterprise expertise and enterprise level performance, which including the transparency, compliance, and security. While you integrate with another platform, just like SAP and Salesforce, you needed to be kind of the platform to including those components. And the second one is this platform should use the less data to learn more. We should avoid to do kind of the duplicate things. We can leverage we call the transfer learning to rebuild the learning model. This is second. And the third one, the last one is we all believe the data belong to the data create owner. So all the owner, they can 100% control your data, your model, your insight, even though your intellectual property. This is our suggestion. And the last one, I would like to call your attention. This is another innovation. A week ago, our CEO, Jean Romantic in France, we call, I remember he called Viva Tech. She initiated an initiative we call the Call for Core. Because what we want to do is we want to gathering, reunite all the resources from development staff, all the company. Because we all know that we can leverage all the resources. Of course, IBM investment of $30 million over the 5 years in this initiative. We try to fix all the challenges of the world. Do you guys know in last years, the frequency of disaster is double than ever, and we almost 1 billion people is suffering these kind of things. So we try to gather all the resources, all the talent people, company. We can get together to fix all the issues. So the first issue we pick up the disaster, natural disaster. So hopefully, we all know that AI is the driver of innovation. But the key point is, we should start right now, not just sit and watch. This is all I have. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, thank you. Okay, last but not the least, I want to invite the panelists from Appier, 游直汉、游执行长. Okay, 直汉, CEO Yo, and he is also co-founder of Appier, a leading AI company whose mission is to help enterprise solving their most challenging business problems with AI-empowered platform. Under his leadership, his company grew from 4-person living rooms startup to a multinational leading AI company in Asia, recognized as one of the top 50 revolutionary AI companies by Fortune magazine. Yeah, please.
Hello, today I would like to share a little bit about our view about artificial intelligence. And then I'm going to show you a few interesting examples from our company. So our agenda is very simple today. The title is how we shape the business of tomorrow. As we know now, every company actually need AI strategy. Why? Because if you look back, 1995, every offline company start getting online. Around 2005 to 2010, we probably still remember, a lot of people, the coolest thing is let's build an app. Every time you will say, okay, let's go out, have a studio and build an app. every company was talk about, let's build an app. I think starting 2015 is the AI era. I think in 10 years from now, we will not talk about AI company because AI, every company, every industry will be empowered by AI. Just like now we say, we are mobile first. Then you will say, you are probably mobile last. No. So I think it's a very important era. But actually, this is a little bit different from the previous two paradigm shift because the entry barrier for the company is actually slightly higher because of talents, computations, and data. These three factors. Because bigger companies tend to grow bigger in this space. So it's very important to catch up and also have your AI strategy. And every industry actually wants intelligence. If you look at the AI landscape, this is a very, very famous research report by CB Insight. You can pretty much find every single industry has an AI company that's working toward that industry. No matter it's education enterprise, cyber security, robotics, etc. So pretty much you can find some company, if not hundreds, that's working toward one direction to revolutionize in AI. And our company is in a space of commerce. Actually, AI-driven business transformation is actually happening. It's very important because everything you do, if you can be automate or make your prediction and action more precise, you can actually utilize AI with data. And it's actually growing very fast. You can now find an industry that's growing 50% per year across next 10 years. And it's going to impact around 50 trillion industry, US dollars of industry in 10 years now. And so we think it's right here, right now, and we need to start early. And then I'm going to show a few, three examples of how we, in terms of product breakthrough and scientific breakthrough from our company. First, product breakthrough. So Appier is a company that we actually offer AI as a service in two sectors. One is in marketing, one is data. In marketing, we help company to reach a customer right time with the right audience, with artificial intelligence predictions. In data intelligence, we help companies to utilize their data and to build prediction model and build execution context very easily. So we have these two product lines. For the first one, how do we do that? And actually, one question in our marketing industries is people are very segmented, actually very fragmented in different devices. It's very hard to streamline your footprints in all the devices or in all kinds of context. And we use AI, identity resolution, in order to recognize across different devices. Then secondly, we identify the right time and right intent. Because you don't want to get annoyed advertisements at all time, but you want to receive the information at the right moment. And then last, we also recommend the right products. Because sometimes we want to travel, but what is a right package for me? And if I want to go shopping, what is the right product for me? That we use AI to solve it. And this product called iSense is help enterprise to solve their problem. Now, every company has some data. Maybe not enough for you, but you have some data. But the more important thing, how can we put data into actions? And that's why it's called iSense, AI into actions. So why we want to use AI to put the data into action? The first thing we help people to unify data. Because your data usually is very fragmented across different departments, marketing departments, CRM departments, IT departments. You all got your data, but you don't talk to each other. That's the most common challenge we see in companies. And secondly, how can we use this data and expand out the reach of my users? Then how do I build prediction model? If you're building prediction model, you need an AI team and a data engineers. And eventually then talk to my business units. It actually takes a long time. How can we empower directly to business units being able to build prediction and not to build an AI team or not to bother the IT? And then last, how do we make the right context across different channels? And the last, I'm going to talk about one very interesting example of a scientific breakthrough that our company has. We actually experiment all kinds of AI algorithms, sometimes for commercial use, sometimes we do idea-driven innovation and to see how we commercialize it. And that's actually a surprising fact for me as well. How can we make AI creative? Now I want to look at these two images. Apologize, a bit small, but it's worth looking at. Which one is actually designed by human, and which one is designed by AI? So one of them, between A and B, is designed by human. One is designed by AI. Let's guess. Who think that A is designed by? Can you all see that, this picture? Maybe a little bit. If you cannot see, just random guess. And who think that A is designed by AI? Okay, roughly 30%. And I think who think B is designed by AI? Roughly 40%. And the other 30% is probably too far to see. The answer is B, is designed by AI. It's actually, what we do is we have AI algorithms look into a website that have comments, likes, and dislikes about all kinds of design and close bad patterns. Then it's automatically to learn how to design clothes. And then eventually, in the algorithm you just see, then we fit in some parameters. For example, I want to find the best jeans for this shirt. It actually automatically generates novel designs. As you can see, that it almost cannot be told it's designed by professional designer or designed by AI now. Of course, we are not trying to replace human being. I think human being can design much better for version 1. But we can provide some baseline for designer to work on. Whenever they run out of ideas, or they just want to see how the design might be, they can use these tools in order to make the design well. Yeah, I think AI is around the corner. As I say, it can actually help for us to become even creative. And company we like the great ideas. Sometimes innovation from great ideas and then to try to commercialize it. A lot of times come from user demands. Actually, user want a lot of things to be automated or even more precise predictions. And eventually, we use cutting-edge technology to build solutions around it. There are a few directions I think it would be very interesting for the next 1 to 2 years in AI. I think generative model has made creative AI very popular. So you will see a lot of creative. AI can write poems. AI can actually pass a test. AI can actually submit some articles. If you are a journal reviewer, conference reviewer, be watch out. I think a lot of AI scientists like to submit to conference or journal by the AI generated paper. You need to review very carefully. That's one of the big trends. They also explain about AI. A lot of industry, like the financial industry or a self-driving car, you need to explain to human beings or people who make decisions why AI makes such decisions. That's very important. That's one of the hardest strengths in AI. And last is interactive AI. AI is new user interface. I think can represent a human being or represent machine to interact with human much better. So we will also see a lot of application in this area. And thank you so much, and that's it. Thank you.
Thanks. After we heard these excellent viewpoint from these giant company currently in the AI tide, I'm sure that some of you in the audience would like to have some questions answered by these fantastic peoples sitting in front. So I would like to open the floor, and if anyone has questions, want to raise hands, and want to address your question to any one of panelists here, yeah, please. Okay, so please, do we have a, yeah, okay. Go ahead. You turn it on? Okay.
Hello, my name is Adrian, and there's a lot of available data in the world right now through all the sensors we're creating through mobile and IoT. So what kind of areas in terms of prediction you think will be most relevant for AI in the next 5 to 10 years? As in, which predictive models you think AI will be the most useful for?
Okay. Anyone who want to answer the questions? Anyone? Or Hanlin, you want to? take a lead?
Yeah, sure. I think 2 points here. So the first one is, even though there is a lot of data being generated with these IoT devices, that data has to be passed through kind of manual human labeling before it becomes a usable form to train some of these models. And so that, for us, is one of the big sort of limiting factors to see sort of which predictive models become important. For us, we see video as one of the key components where computer vision methods have reached a level of maturity where they can do a variety amount of tracking of pedestrians in retail spaces, to doing automated infrastructure inspection being collected from IoT sensors that are at the edge. And so that's where we spend a lot of our effort, is in building out both the hardware and the software to enable startups and companies to best take advantage of video predictive analytics.
Okay, anyone want to add? Okay, Simon?
So one of the things that we're actually working over in Taiwan right now is especially in the area of manufacturing. As you guys know, that we have actually built a lot of sensors into the factories. And in fact, those data are extremely useful if we already have trained and labeled data, right? One of the things that we're trying to do is to do abnormality detections. Preempt where potentially where parts of the factories is going to fail. And this is just one of the possible, one of the applications which we are working with some of the manufacturers over in Taiwan. I think the sky is the limit. At the moment right now, we are looking at all sorts of different things. In China itself, we are using traffic signals to work together with companies like people like Baidu, actually working on traffic optimizations and so forth. So there are many different type of applications. The question right now is that, are we able to get the right data? Are we able to get the right models to actually train it for the desired purpose?
Okay, Michael?
Yeah, allow me to add on that. I've seen a lot of the AI project lately, and to my personal point of view, I think they are more like a dumb AI. It is a collection of the data, clean, being marked, train in the cloud or on a server, then put on an on-prem machine and use locally. So this continuous learning loop is disconnected. So as your question pointed out that we have a lot of data generated by the mobile device and IoT, I think that's actually a very important problem for the industry to solve, and it's yet to be solved. The reason why I'm saying that is, for all these IoT devices, for example, using manufacturing industries, all these sensors being built on this CNC machine, for example, we need to be able to ensure a secure, fail-safe kind of environment, ensuring the data can go all the way, through your controller to the industrial computer, to the hub, and to the cloud, to do the data processing, be able to enter the model, train, then being redeployed back. I think that's a complete cycle where we imagine that should be happening in the future, is yet to happen. Right now, it's very manual or somehow disconnected. This is the reason why I call that as a dumb AI. I think that's still a progress that we should strive for. We should continue to work on that. But let's not stop at what we have now. I would rather, for example, for Microsoft, we really want to build a platform, a data pipeline that is so robust that people can use, and to finish that and to become a true AI. So that's where I think we should be working on. Okay.
Thanks. Suhan?
Yeah, I think for the space you mentioned, very important is IoT device and mobile device. So the data, how they store and how they are processed is so heterogeneous. How do you unify across those data, and unify across the application level so they can leverage each other's the outputs, and then to combine into a more predictive model is actually very important. And secondly, when we think about what industry can emerge, usually we take a look at two dimension. One is data readiness, whether the data, as previous speakers mentioned, whether data is labeled, whether data is clean. And second, whether people in that industry is ready to accept the transformations. That's the two most important parameters to predict what will be the next. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. So let's go for a next question. Do anyone from the floor have any questions? Okay, maybe I. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm just curious how Taiwan can sort of get on to this AI trend and how it can keep up with the rest of the world, Taiwan in particular.
Okay, thanks. Panelists, be brief. Anyone want to answer this question?
Let me start with that. Microsoft made this decision to invest AI R&D center in Taiwan in January. So I think that for the journey I've had, as I mentioned earlier, in the last 6 months, I've been meeting with a lot of industry leaders, government agency, university, and research institutions. I'm confidently to share with you that in terms of the AI itself, Taiwan is not late. All right, all this academic research, including Professor Fu's team, right? We have tons of professor, internationally award-winning research teams. All this core tech research is there. The problem is all this core tech research result cannot be connected with the industrial application. That is the problem, right? And also, I think there is a very important factor is that in the last year or a half, I would say, I think the whole society itself, including government, including this media, has been educating the people in the industry that the importance of AI. So it is happening. I know I've been meeting with a lot of industry leaders. They've been telling me their desire and the POC they've been making. It's not just being disclosed public. All right, so I think it is happening. We just need to be patient and wait to see the companies really applying the core tech into application and being used in their core business. Then you will be able to see, you take off. Okay.
Thanks. Mars, do you want to add?
I think two dimensions. The first one, I think in terms of the government, I think the government should pay more attention about how we can have more courses related to this kind of, no matter the AI or the new solution, AI, blockchain, cloud, because we see a lot of the information is not coming from the university, but come from the open platform. The first one. The second one, we all know all the good vendors, no matter the Microsoft, NVIDIA, or Intel, we all have a really good platform. Like IBM, we provide lots of the course material on the cloud platform. So if anyone wants to learn more or learn deeper, actually we have a free source. Even we for the development or free stuff, but we have free license or resource, and even SME. We can help the people, help the community to step in this area, and then we can build a very good ecosystem, put all the components in here. Yes.
Thanks. Okay, Simon?
I'm gonna echo what Michael has said. My interactions with the Taiwan universities has been very fruitful, I must say, because there are a lot of very interesting research work that's already been done in Taiwan University, NTU, Tsinghua University, and so forth. And like what Michael said is how do we then able to bring those research out to commercializations? That is a challenging path, in fact. The other things is that the country would have to focus, because one of the things is that there are so many things to do. And if we actually dilute all our effort into many, many things, then it's going to be very difficult to see success. So to a certain extent, the country will have to be focused on certain industry and certain application so that all the effort can be put behind one single arrows.
Okay, Hanlin, I see you want to add.
In my view, AI is such a new emerging technology that it is really the countries or the people that are are the tool builders and not just the tool users that will have effective AI organizations. So I would encourage Taiwan to work with folks to build those software tools and hardware tools needed to implement AI. Right now, the stack is so vertically integrated that it's really those that are able to go beneath what the tools are today that'll really get the most out of advancing AI, both inside Taiwan and also across the world community.
Okay.
Probably can add one last word. So
Last one.
basically, we are from startup. So from startup point of view, where idea and speed of execution really matters. I don't see the boundaries where you start up in Taiwan or wherever. Actually, still idea win. But actually, there's one disadvantage of Taiwan is the home market is smaller. So we need to think about how to grow across a different country in order to be a sizable business.
Okay, thanks. I think, because time is up, so we have to close the panel, but I'm sure if you, at the end, you probably can come up and talk to the panelists. Okay, yeah, there's very a great pleasure to moderate this panels, and I hope today the whole hour's panels has entertained your curiosity, and we really happy to have all these panelists to give us their wonderful points. So can you join me to thank all these panelists for their great sharing their points? Okay, so I have to close this panel. Okay, thank you for coming.
And
Thanks.
a big thank you to Dr. Fu as well.